I'm gonna go over some books that I made over the last couple of years where I go through in a kind of like a scan sort of way the Yu-Gi-Oh sets, the main sets. I've stuck to the main sets. Yes, there are some tournament pack cards that I've put in here, but most of the cards are really from the main sets. So there's some blue books and there's some green books. The blue books were the first set that I did, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And then the green books are the two that I made, or were made I think last year. I went through and I bought a few more cards. So I'm just going to go through these books. Incidentally, some of these cards from Metal Raiders have been reprinted as Link Monsters. Mrs. Radiant is Milus Radiant. The Hashiningen also has been reprinted as a Link Monster. The Chimera, they all have the same template, right? So all cards of this, all monsters of this attribute, etc. Now, some of these cards, very few of them are actually reprints from the Legendary Collection. Almost all of them are from the original prints. I pulled many of them from the packs, from buying packs with the old Konami logo, so I know which ones are the old ones. And when the card says Magic Card instead of Spell Card for the first few sets, you know you're dealing with the real thing. Because when they reprinted in Legendary Collection, they put in Spell Card for Magic Card on all the cards. And they even have, in the case of Magic Ruler, they even have the pack, the card is numbered SRL, not MRL. And I don't have any SRL cards in here. Everything here that happens to have been printed in Magic Ruler is Magic Ruler. Now, these are the cards from the starter deck Kaiba. The Blue Dragon card is really iconic. It's a great artwork. It's actually a fairly common card. I think it's common but really sought after, because I have seen like literally dozens of eBay lots where the lot will have like 20 of this card, 30 of this card. So there's definitely a community out there of people with nostalgia and who just happen to think that that card is iconic enough to own a gazillion of them. I think I only have 2 or 3, but I really wanted to have one. And also I got pretty lucky with the starter decks that I found lots where they were in very high quality and I paid very little for them. So I think I paid like 20 bucks for a lot that had almost all of the Kaiba ones fairly minty mint. So again, we'll see how far I get into book 1. I'm trying to showcase every card and almost like taking my time. I love the artwork of these early cards. They're just really iconic for Yu-Gi-Oh! And every time I get a chance to buy one of these lots, if it's cheap, and you can find these very cheap, these are not like Magic cards where people actually think they're valuable. I think luckily for Yu-Gi-Oh! Nobody is mistaking these cards as like $1 million items. And so you can really find them for fairly cheap even today in 2018. And for example, I'll give you the example of Dark Hole. So I think that is Dark Hole from the Kaiba, and then this Dark Hole. I'm sorry, I lost track of where I was. There I am. That is an LOB Dark Hole. Okay, it's unlimited, but that's an LOB Dark Hole. I've got like 4 or 5 of them. They're actually pretty cheap, even though it's a rare item in my opinion, relatively. And that's the Monster Reborn that is common from the Kaiba deck. Okay. So we have pretty good light today for this video. And I'm really taking my time going through. I consider these cards to be jewels. Yeah, I love collecting them. Now in this case for two-prong attack, that's the LOB rare. And then that's the SDK also rare. No, I'm sorry, common. It's common. It's a common and SDK. Never mind. Also, the way these books are, sometimes the card looks like it's buffed or damaged, but it's really the book. The cards are almost all pack fresh mint. I didn't really care for whether it was first edition or not. I leave that for collectors who have more money than I do and were also way earlier in this game than I have been. So I've come in a little too late to the game. There is your Dark Magician and Summoned Skull from SD Yugi, right? Yeah, SD Yugi. See if the camera can pick it up. Yep. So there they are. Celtic Guardian and Curse of Dragon and Gaia from the starter deck. A lot of these starter deck cards, some of them, some of the normal monsters, I don't think got reprinted anywhere. I think the only place to find them is in the starter deck. I think that's a common dark hole from the starter deck. Yep. One second, let me see if I don't lose my balance. Sorry about that. Let me get my hand back in here. Okay, now we're back centered. I'm not even halfway through the book, so I think I'm going to have to pick it up. Again, these are more of the starter deck cards, but I really want to take my time with these, you know. It's so awesome that Monster Reborn is now in a recent starter deck. That is just so awesome.
Yeah, it's no longer, like...
Banned.
Yeah.
It's great. Again,
you can just play whatever you want.
Yep, I think it's just one at one. I think it's limited to one.
Yeah.
Waboku, there it is. And that is a Magic Ruler MST. Trying to hold it with two hands because after a while my right hand begins shaking a little. These are some fusion cycles complete and some are incomplete. Some of the early spells are limited print, fairly hard to find, or relatively speaking. I mean, a lot of the stuff is common. Love these cards. I think this book is all LOB, Metal Raiders, and Magic Ruler. think we're reaching the halfway point, and I'm at 10 minutes. So didn't foresee that I would take my time so much, but man, these cards are so awesome. Such an easy collectible to fall in love with. Of course, in the case of twin-headed Thunder Dragon, I think it requires 2 Thunder Dragons. Yeah, and there they are. And of course, Thunder Dragon is really cool. I love the artwork, and it's actually a playable card. I think at least I think I do. And there's an Umi for the Umi Legendary Fisherman combo. There's a Harpy Lady Sisters, and you know, a lot of some people have never really looked at Elegant Egotist close enough. Let's see if this camera can pick up what the artwork is. Do you see that it's the face of a woman in a kind of like a crystal? I bet you a lot of people have had Elegant Egotist and play with it and never really thought of that, because it looks like a crystal. Can't really tell if you don't look carefully that it's a woman's face. These are some incomplete cycles of fusions. There are lots of common fusions in LOB and MRD, Metal Raiders. I can tell by now, just by touching the cardboard, when it's one of the reprinted packs and when it's the original card. But I haven't gone through the trouble of checking every single one of these cards, because frankly, I don't really care. I'm just having fun with a fun collectible. The Moth. And of course, here they are, the 6 Metal Raider rares that have been recently morphed into Link monsters. And you can find each one of these as a Link monster in the first few boosters of the Link era. I think I'm going to stop right here maybe. Yeah, I've got a few more. I'll stop right here and I'll continue with the first book.